under the current system.
I'll keep count of who's next with
Yeah,
their
okay.
hand up.
Thanks.
John?
Is there any threat of litigation if the city were to try to pull out the contract? And how much money would be lost if they pulled out today with the designers already spending $1 million a week?
Month, I think.
How much?
That's probably not the rate. They will run out of money pretty fast, but they did that for a few months. Anyway, the contract, as far as I know, would allow the city to pull out whenever it wanted. But of course, the argument is we've already sunk, so, you know, you've probably heard this argument too. I used to hear it during my formative years when the country was in Vietnam. Oh, we've invested so much now, we've got to stay there and see this through. Boy, that's a bad argument to me.
Yeah, because we don't always see it do
Yeah, exactly. But in any case, the city could get out of that engineering contract, but doesn't want to. 6 out of 7 of the city councilors want to continue with it, and the city staff really wants to keep going with the project.
Well, that's really good.
I'm one of the few who happens to disagree. But there also is a group represented by Moe and Bill who are here, organized kind of opposition to the water project. And they're actually coming at it from a somewhat different perspective than I am, but nevertheless, you know, that's an alternative channel, and they're doing a number of different things to try to get the city to reconsider what it's doing.
Can you address the issue of our economic growth and the global warming issue? I was watching a show on PBS not long ago of a guy who went to Antarctica, and I guess Antarctica has the most global warming issue. One of the scientists said when something would calve off the glacier, they'd all go and look. And he says now it happens so much they don't even get out of their desks, they just keep working. So since it is surface water, what's the relationship between groundwater and our glaciers / snowpack? Is that being considered at all?
I think the simple answer is no, it's not being considered.
Yeah.
I follow it with a lot of interest because I happen to have been going to graduate school, did some work at Scripps Institution of Oceanography, and they were the first guys to start measuring the CO2 in the atmosphere. Mm-hmm. And I remember thinking when they were starting to do it, you know, the carbon dioxide was here, and they projected that it was going to be here. Just follow this very obvious trend, and it has done exactly what they predicted. And the consequences are, the global consequences are not in any scientific doubt. There are still people out there who somehow think this is some kind of political issue, but it's not. It's like nature is going to be undergoing these major changes in the world. How it will play out in different places is quite uncertain. And as far as the city's surface water supply, most of the water comes from the bottom of Broken Top. It's a really nice hike. You can go up there and you can kind of see the water shooting in all these springs right out of the side of the hill. It's really a wonderful, nifty place. Yes, if there were less snowpack, then there would certainly be less water out of there. No question about it. But how it will actually play out, you know, in the next 50 years is really uncertain. But the way it's looking this year, who knows, might happen sooner than.
I know California has no snow in this area at all. One small follow-up, is there any fudge factor in this projection of the $66 million? Any cost overruns, or is that, are they locked into that price?
There's nothing or nobody is locked into the price. It could be higher, it could be lower. And in fact, it's been a little disconcerting. There's been kind of a erosion of some confidence over the period of this project because the prices have flipped around a bit. That doesn't lead people to have a lot of confidence. They do have some legitimate reasons why the price has moved around, because you're doing this huge engineering project. You really don't know all the details of how much it's going to cost till you start actually letting the bids and getting contractors to work on stuff. But they did mess up a few, by they I mean the city and its consultants, they did mess up a few basic calculations, like how much electricity would be saved by or be produced by the hydroelectric plant, and how much dollars that translated to. So there's kind of a confidence issue, and yes, there could be the things could cost a different amount. Probably the pipeline is a little more certain in its cost. The treatment option that they have chosen, namely using these micro filtration system, is relatively more expensive than other ways to do it, like using ultraviolet light. Different systems have different advantages and disadvantages. But it's interesting that the city of Portland is under the same kind of mandate, and they are going for a system that, relative to how much water they do, is a lot less expensive. But the city of Bend just decided they'd love to have that membrane water filter system. And one of their reasons is that they're worried about a fire in the watershed, which would cause the water to be really messed up with sediment and stuff for a while. I don't personally, I was never personally that worried about that case, because if there were to be a fire in the watershed, the worst thing you'd have to do is turn it off for a while till the water cleared up, and in the meantime there's enough pumping capacity from the wells.
Dale is next.
I got a couple questions. I just want to be clear, the filtration system, is it not really necessary because our water is coming from higher up in the forest where it's more pristine? And is that what the continuation with the EPA is about?
The EPA mandate is most direct, or I'd say the main reason behind it is this cryptosporidium issue. Mm-hmm. And our water has had cryptosporidium measured in it a number of times in pretty small quantities, not enough to make anybody sick. And so the EPA says, even if you don't have any cryptosporidium, you still have to put in some filtration, but at the level that we've measured, then we have to do a pretty good job of filtration. They require that the concentration of the cryptosporidium spores, which are sometimes measured there and sometimes not, have to be reduced by a big factor. And so the city pretty much can't get out of the filtration requirement. However, just as recently as this week, the city has been talking and sending letters and stuff to the state, trying to get a more lenient schedule. It's supposed to be, filtration's supposed to be up and running by October of 2012. They got an extension for a couple of years. Chances of them getting more extensions and so on are probably not that good. And ultimately, if you're going to have to do it, then it doesn't buy you all that much to delay.